Okay.
So we're still trying not to manufacture those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
No, wait, give me another 30 seconds.
I told you Nicole was coming.
She's coming. We'll give her just a... And now I have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is that
Nicole, I
correct?
told, you have one up here. They said she's not coming. I sat next to her yesterday. She didn't say anything.
No, everybody's falling apart. Sorry, excuse me for being late.
Okay. I guess it's time to call this meeting to order. 4 minutes late. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Okay. On that note, we'll move on to citizens' time. If there are any concerned citizens out there that are not here to present their COA, give them time to speak. I'm assuming you have a COA, so.
Yeah, he has.
Okay, we'll move on from citizens' time then to minute approval. Minutes have not been completed because of audio problems, so we'll move past that agenda item and go directly into certificate of appropriateness. I guess who do we have waiting out here? You're
Gary Ball.
He's from Green Hill Crossing.
Crossing, so we'll do 4B first, just to prevent him from having to hang around any longer. So we'll start off with that, the COA.
If I tab. I'm so not used to that. I make a motion to approve zoning permit ZP 2016-008 for 14920 Green Hill Crossing Drive for the deck and stairs.
I second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Anybody have any comments or discussion they want to raise?
No, it's good. Straightforward. It's going to be painted, it's going to be painted white or have the white, appearance of white,
White railing and,
railing
yeah.
and so forth. And then the deck itself will be not white, but we won't see that. Yep.
Okay, I guess we'll put this up to vote then. All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Nope. Good to go. Everything's
Thank
put together
you.
great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the
And-
complete package.
Yep, no problem.
And enjoy your deck when it's finished.
Just one question.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be 2 inspections, right?
I'll talk to you about
Okay.
it. Yeah, I'll email you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you can pick up the phone.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, can I interrupt you for a minute? Do you have a roll-up set in your package?
Of,
In your folder there, do you have a full-size copy of the town center plan?
yes.
Can I borrow that?
I'll give you the whole packet so it stays together. Okay. We'll talk about later. We'll continue on with the meeting then. I guess we're up to COA for Goose Trail.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit 2016-009 for 14833 Caboose Trail.
I second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and second.
Want
A
me to say it
motion
again?
and second.
I
Okay.
have to say it again. I make a motion to approve zoning permit ZP 2016-009 for 14833 Caboose Trail for a deck.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any questions? Pretty straightforward. It has the homeowner association for them, their application in there as well, with its approvals. Mine is, am I too far away? I tried to move it closer.
Just make sure everybody's.
And this one will be stained natural.
Yes.
Nope, looks straightforward.
Want to make sure everyone's got their heads on straight. Okay. Ready for a vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we got another pass. Okay, we'll move on to the Hullfish shutters. I guess beforehand, since Brian's here, or Brian, did you want to talk to this, or did you want Marshawn?
I'm going to defer to
Marshawn?
Councilwoman Edwards or to Marshawn on this one, but
The mayor had just asked, the shutters were originally on the house, and when the renovation was done, it just, the shutters, no shutters were ever put back up, so he just wants it completed. So the property looks more authentic, so. It was really hard to find pictures of
But there is
anything that
one.
we. I know,
There's one.
but you can't really tell what color they are, and then with the roof that's over there, it's very hard to.
Yeah, I noticed you put down in here 14-inch shutters. Did anybody measure the windows? Is that going to be, because my thoughts on the house, since we initially went through the restoration process and we tried to painstakingly put it back to its original condition, I'd like, if we do approve these shutters, go with something that looks totally functional, if not functional, with the hardware and everything else, just because of how painstakingly we went through this previously. So, you know, the question then rises, are we going to even look at vinyl shutters? If we do, you know, are we going to conditionalize it on hardware? And so, you know, those are some questions that I raised to the board.
The one thing that we did discuss with the staff filling out this application is that it is not on Washington Street. It's off on the side street. So, you know, historically, we've been a little bit more lenient if you're not on the main drag. Even though you're on Old Carolina, you know, it's still, but it's not the main.
It's still what we've identified as a gateway.
Oh, yes,
and it's still
absolutely.
fully visible from Washington Street. So it still falls under this, what I would consider full scrutinization of what we do.
Absolutely.
Your point is well taken, but I would also agree with you. I mean, it's right here on the corner,
Right,
and
right,
technically, yes,
right.
it's off of that road, but no, it's right here. And I would also say that, you know, in so much as this is owned by the town, and this is one of our historic properties, we would have no leg to stand on
Oh,
at all,
absolutely.
trying to get
Absolutely.
other property owners to conform, to do something historic if we can't do that. So, yeah, so I would very much push that, one, the dimensions would be in keeping with approximately half of the windows, not necessarily exact, but at least to look as if they would cover half of the window. And that they
I
would
don't
have.
think these pictures depict the measurement of the shutter. It was just,
Right, but
They're
I'm
not
just
to
saying,
scale.
you did put down a measurement in here, which
Right.
means we definitely want to clarify that.
right.
You're right, yeah, the standard off-the-shelf 15-inch shutter is not going to fly. But also, I'd like to propose that we have some operable-looking hardware that doesn't operate actually, but it would appear to operate. And yes, I would really like to push for something that would at least look
Closer
like it's wood.
material, yeah.
Yeah, if it's not wood, at least it comes across as being wood.
Those are all things that you can put in.
And, these are originally louvered shutters.
Yes.
If I could get a wood look shutter that is not necessarily a louvered shutter, but a panel shutter, I would go with that over a louvered plastic shutter. In other words, my aversion is to the plastic. I would prefer a wood-looked louvered shutter. That would be in keeping with what was original. So,
All things that you can put into the certificate.
Exactly,
What's
that's
your
why I
motion?
wanted to kind of put this out there before a motion was
Yeah.
put on it, so. Plus, we can discuss this beforehand. We're using Luce Roberts rules, right? Which says we can discuss before we motion. But, yeah, I wanted to get other people's opinions on that, comments. Am I off base, or should I say both John and I off base with
No,
the
I agree.
concept?
that's fine. We're good. I'm on board.
Okay. Because that's pretty much what I would recommend. So does anybody want to make a motion with these
I think John's great
conditions in it?
points. I say we let John make that motion.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Try not to, I've never made a motion before. Out of all the 10 years, or however long it's been since I've been on this board, I've never, because I wasn't actually on the
Well,
board
today's
originally.
your first day.
I was actually not on the board originally, if you all remember the history.
You were just an advisor.
Okay. What's that? Motion away. Darn it. Okay, I motion that the town install shutters on the Hullfish House that would, the shutters to be proportionally half of the window that it accompanies, that the shutters have operable looking, if not operable, hardware, and that the shutters be a wood look, if not wood, then a wood look shutter, either preferably louvered, but paneled
picture.
if, paneling is preferable to, a panel shutter is preferable to a plastic shutter.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was gonna say.
to be determined by you.
Historical records.
Black.
Black to match the door.
Door, yeah. Since we're kind of locking in on this, I wouldn't give the option on
On the louvered?
style.
Okay.
I'd say go with the historical louvered.
Okay. In a wood look.
In a-
Wood or wood look.
Yeah, original material or a satisfactory, I guess the term satisfactory replacement, as approved by, who would approve that kind of stuff? The historian or us, or?
Us?
That would be the question.
That person right there.
Yeah, that would be the perfect person.
I think it would be appropriate. We'll report back to you all, but I think you've made your
If there's any
motion clear enough
questions.
that that's the approach that we'll take, the town staff will take, in making ordering and getting them installed. Just say yes.
Thank you, sir. May I have
Okay.
There you go, so someone second that. and we'll-
Second.
There you go.
Before we go a second, could I get the motion repeated as cleaned up as we could, Sherry? Just so everyone has an understanding of what they're seconding and voting on.
I think, motion to approve shutters be proportional to at least half of the window. Shutters have operable looking, if not operable hardware. And shutters be a wood look, if not wood. And then get the original material.
And that's it. And-
Louvered.
And louvered, yes,
And color to be black to match the
to match the door. There you go.
Good enough.
You're saying, okay.
Black louvered, wood look, if we can't do wood, proportional to the size of the window with hardware.
Operable hardware. Option A, operable.
If-
Option B, not operable.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
All right, sounds good.
And you got my second.
Okay. Got a motion and second. Anybody want to throw some last-minute jabs at that motion? Okay, we'll put it up for vote then. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Park benches, yay. Brian, park benches.
Park benches.
Oh, hey, just, I just mentioned to everyone, while we're still on the subject of the whole fish house before I move away, he mentioned that it might be appropriate to wait until like some of the grading gets done with this project, but I did notice that there's exposed cinder blocks below in the 12 inches of exposed porch
Where?
area.
Where?
Below the porch, below the front
Over.
porch, on the whole fish house.
That, I think, if I'm correct, is going to be fixed with the town center project, right?
Addition.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we, okay, great.
That might be a while, but that's.
Yeah. It's in the plan.
There you go, good deal.
Okay, so now we move on to the community park benches.
And picnic tables.
Can wait.
So, what's that?
I thought you'd do take care of him, no?
Oh. Yeah, we might as well. Sorry about that. You don't mind
I'm
hanging
here
out
for
a little
both,
longer,
so
right?
that's okay. No, I'm saying I'm here for both.
So is he.
Yeah.
Well, you think the park benches are going to take that long?
No, let's just wipe it out in order since, okay, do you want to give us some type of backstory on this, Brian?
Sure. At this month's April council meeting, council basically took a motion to start the process of trying to open up Harover to more public access. And so one of the ways we are looking to address this is by placing some picnic tables and benches out on the property to encourage more, like I said, public access to the property. We'll be coming back also with a future park sign. We're going to be going through the process of starting a naming contest. Really what what we're looking for today or this evening is some direction with regard to more style. With regard to price, I didn't include any prices in these because, to be honest with you, there are many vendors of the same type of style.
Rich.
Yeah, well, there's many vendors of the same type of style. So we will basically work to get the best deal for the town, but at the same time, we're just really kind of looking for style. If you want to walk through your package, what we included here was basically with the benches, you have the first one that is, it looks wood, it's actually a recycled plastic material. And it has a wood appearance. The second one you have on page 30, that's also recycled plastic material. As well. It's not actually wood, so it's a little bit more durable. And then the final bench option we showed is also that's just plain metal, a metal bench. There are so many variety of styles. We were just trying to give some idea. With regard to the picnic tables, that first picnic table you see that is all recycled material as well. So it's a hard plastic, but it gives an appearance of a wood finish. Especially from the distance, but it's a lot more durable than wood, and so we wouldn't be constantly replacing or refinishing. And then finally, you have pretty much your traditional steel metal coated picnic table. Very durable, has its pros, has its cons, but it's very. I'll take an angle.
Utilitarian.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. It's very utilitarian. So if you want something a little bit more with a little bit more character, if I can just get an idea, I think we can find something that you'll be very pleased with, unless you really like the ones we put as examples.
Okay, and you're only using these as references of style then, correct?
Correct. I mean, if there was a specific type or style I'm sure we could find it. If you wanted to stick more to the recycled plastics. I do know the council would like to see these ordered and placed on the property within 45 days.
Yeah, because I just wanted, if we were going down to, here's the handful, please pick from these, I would want to see some type of spec, because besides the detail of it, I'd like to see something that'll stay around for a while. So I'd like to see what kind of life cycle these things have from weather testing. But since we're just looking at style, we can just go with that. I just wanted to put that out there. But for style, I'm comfortable with it.
Well,
We're
I
actually
think-
picking something.
Well, I think that the council wants something that's going to be, speaking from just what everybody said at the meeting, that they want something that's durable, and that's the whole point behind this. They don't want to have to keep refinishing them and the maintenance and all that kind of stuff. They want it to be sturdy and durable.
Okay.
I have a question. Will the benches and the tables, they'll all be from recycled materials, from whatever other vendor that you pick from? Because you said this is for us to just pick for style. But whatever vendor that we use, will it be providing like recycled?
Yeah, these what this is recycled plastic material.
Yes.
And so there's various vendors that sell a lot of the same kind of style.
Okay.
But they're all recycled plastic materials, which from a durability standpoint, once again, do hold up, seemingly hold up very well based upon the research we've had.
Isn't that what Trex is? Is Trex recycled?
Yeah, it's essentially Trex. It's like a Trex material. These are not, they're not light. Obviously, they go up in price from, if you go wood to steel. I mean, the price just rises up. But at the same time, it gives an appearance of a wood finish. You can also get them in any colors, an assortment of colors that you want. You can also you have many varieties. I think I'm kind of partial and would recommend this because I think you
looks
can get
natural.
benches and tables that look they match.
But I think to answer your question specifically, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but no, we're not hemmed into the, they're looking for us to tell them. No, we're not hemmed into the Trex material or Trex-like material. If you wanted to go with the pure metal bench, that would be fine.
Yeah.
My initial thoughts are these benches, you want them to be durable,
Yes.
which means I assume you want them to be around for a while, which means they would then potentially impact the architecture of what is to be.
Right.
What is and what possibly is to be is a Craftsman, Victorian 1910 type of feel, which that initial bench does not have, in my opinion.
No, but you also have to remember that this is going to be a park.
Correct.
So you want people to be able to sit on them when there's concerts there and,
Correct, but I would also propose that the bench would want to look, as it was planned, as part of the overall project, which of course, unfortunately now is hard because we don't know what the overall project is going to be. It'd be great if we were doing this all at once. It's not a big deal because obviously if we get a bench that
Right.
looks terrible, by the time we get the whole thing done, it would not be that terrible, hard to move the bench over, or sell the bench, or something else. In that respect, I kind of like the second or the third option, because now the second option on page 30, am I looking at a metal frame to that? Okay. I would think that is more of a classic park bench look, which, and again, you'd have the Trex-like material for the slats, presumably, but you still have the nice iron rail.
Right. But in my opinion, though, it all depends on whether we're going to go with something that's polished and more of an urban setting, or something that's more rural and rustic. And that's something that I guess we would have to look back on what the proposed site plan is. Are we going to have, a concrete pad that these are going to be sticking on? In that case, maybe that would be understandable because there's some type of detail around it. But these, to me, are a little bit too fine are detailed, looking in the sense of being in a constructed area as
Right.
opposed to a rural
Right. At this time, they just want to put the tables and the benches there
out.
so that people will start using the property as
Correct.
open space in town. So,
But we
at
want
this
to
point, they're
reuse
not
them.
going to,
Our
correct.
goal is to.
Our goal
reuse
is to reuse them.
One of the other things I think would also help is, all we were looking at is locating about 8 picnic tables and benches throughout the property. So if you did get something, you're going to have various different amenities to the park. And so these are going to be very, very movable. So you could put them into a different section at a later time, or we could use them elsewhere in town if we wanted to go with a different, style and feel. Once you actually start getting into the architecture of what the pavilion's going to look like, and of course the 14740 house, which is where the food pantry is currently, that's going to be basically reused and repurposed. So you're going to have some architectural features there. I'm sure the pavilion's going to mimic some of those architectural features. But at the same time, you could relocate these benches, say, down near where the playground is. I mean, you'd have some flexibilities. Really, what we're looking at is, the other thing is, they're not going to be like on concrete. We're not looking to install them on concrete pads, because we don't want to say that that's where the bench is going to be forever and forever.
Right.
Right now, the idea is to kind of scatter them around. Maybe put some on the back portion, put some a lot up front, and basically just give it a place and a feel where residents or visitors can stop by, grab a picnic lunch, and walk the dog and enjoy the facility as we work to bring amenities to it.
Can I bring something up? I'm listening to what everyone's saying about the different features, and when you look at these 2 benches and you have a 2-year-old, the first thing they do with the metal benches is their fingers go in it. And that's a concern me as a parent, that I look and think of things when I do go to parks and I look at the facilities that they have placed there. Yes, they could put their arms in the slots and things, but with the green one, you always see or hear of children having little slight incidents like that. And that's something that we can think about or even have into consideration when we're thinking. And understanding that we're only going to get 8 for right now, at least we can have that option of saying, oh, if we want to have the metal benches, we place them in a place where there's a walking path or a dog trail, where it won't be too much in an area where we would have to worry about younger children harming themselves. Or have a nicer bench set up by the pavilion, so that when people are coming down and they are watching a show, they have like a nice sturdy area where they can sit with their friends and they can have their cheese and crackers and they can, take in the sights of what we have to show. But that's just something I wanted to kind of put out there. If we have that option of even having a different style in different sections, as you say, that they'll be moved around, even just trying to see how that worked out for us.
Now, wait, as far as the benches, I don't quite understand. I can see this metal picnic table. Is that what you're referring to, with the holes? That
Yes, because it's all graded. Am I
Right, okay.
speaking of the correct type
Yeah,
of?
that's- Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we have that option of having, do we have that option of having different styles just to kind of see if it works for us? Or are we specifically stuck on saying we have to pick this one bench and that one picnic table?
I haven't. Pretty on there. So we're trying to call it the low-hanging fruit. And we're probably 12 to 16 months out from seeing new structures and development on there. This was simply a way to address that interim period and allow them to, these may not be very durable. They may not last a season. So we were actually doing this as a courtesy. I think initially the thought was just to go buy them, get them out there, and this was simply a courtesy to come to the ARB and say, which it should anyway. It was a courtesy to go ahead and bring it to you. So I think with that in mind, this is really meant to be kind of a interim, what did you say? It's an interim condition. It may not work. We're going to have the town center here. We're going to have the museum that these could be repurposed at. So I think that was really the thinking, is something that's attractive, that's of similar make and style, and can be moved around the property in the next 12 to 18 months.
What style of bench do we have along the road right now?
We have the bench that you see, page 30, but it's,
So if we were to get that style of bench and then later on, like, ooh, we could just add them again, and they would match what we already have.
correct. I think, in the interim, those are going to be hard to use just because there's not a flat surface that's out there. It's more of, I think, the picnic tables that are going to be more of a utility in the meantime. Now, probably got to secure them so they don't walk away. But
But
the
there's all
idea,
different kinds of ways to.
but the idea would be to, have them out there under the trees in front and encourage people to use the property sooner rather than later. So.
Right.
And I guess I can share about the.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like public, right? The farmer's market's moving down to that property. So what was that QBE and then our farmer's market, they're joining forces and it's going to be on the property up there. So, this is something that people might,
Oh, yeah, get
You know.
people using it, used to
yes,
using it. Great.
yes.
Okay, my thoughts though, right now, this bench on 32, not the bench, the
picnic
picnic
table.
table, I like much
Yes.
more than the metal one.
Yes.
It's, there's not a lot, I don't think there's a lot of, classic picnic tables other than what you're looking at right here, so I'm kind of fine with this.
But I think it looks natural too. It's like,
It looks fine enough. I wouldn't mind the pressure-treated lumber type stuff, but, yeah, I can see this, your preference, I understand that. Now, having said, if we go with this, then it does seem, reasonable to go with this. However, I just don't like this, I'm sorry.
but they're
I
not
would
going to
much
be
prefer
lining
what we
the
have.
sidewalk or anything with them. They're going to be.
No.
That is true, that is true.
Same thing, we're not going to have streetscape, sidewalk, those types of things, so
Right.
really just going to be out in the grass.
Right.
Haphazardly placed.
So,
And I'll tell you what, I think that one would look better out in the grass than these. These are just, they're a little bit too
Urban.
nicely detailed
although by
to
the
sit in
time-
front
again,
of
I'm
some
just-
pavilion or something like that, or on a porch.
I'm just looking long-term with the, again, 16 months out or something. And these benches actually cost a little more than you may think.
No, they do.
So I kind of think we have a standard bench throughout the town, and it almost makes sense to me to just bring that same standard bench into the bench, the town property, is my thought process. Now, whether it has Trex or wood, that's fine. But
I just feel like.
the thing is, another thing though, that with the standard bench, if you are sitting it out on the dirt, these feet might sink.
Right.
into the
That's why I
dirt.
said this is more stable.
Correct, that is true. As far as securing it, normally what you do, if you were to use these benches, you would probably dig yourself a little post hole, about, 18 inches deep, 2 foot be better, but you fill it with concrete, and then you bolt these to the, like a 4-inch hole, 6-inch hole, and that's going to keep people from moving it around. I guess with these, I'm not exactly sure how I guess you would just sit them on the dirt and then dig a
That's kind of the
stake,
same
put a-
way
put a
stake
stake in
and
there,
chain.
and then a chain.
Yeah, steak and
We wouldn't do anything as intrusive. They actually, the company Belson Outdoors, which, where we pulled some of our images from, there are various different, anchoring mechanisms that are not, ones I was looking at it's almost more like a heavy gauged wire, but it's not as intrusive as, say, chaining it down
Okay.
and stuff. So, and you basically, you put the plug
Okay.
deep in it. It will make it enough of an inconvenience not to want to take it. Plus, these things, from what I can gather,
They're
are also
heavy.
pretty heavy. So hopefully, being as quaint as we can be, sometimes, if someone really was starting to try, we'd hopefully have an officer pretty quick.
I would hope so.
Six teenagers in Bupiton, man.
Do we need a motion? Do you need direction? What do you need?
Are we looking for approval for this? Because you did put it in a zoning permit application, so.
Is it more want to, that would be appropriate. Other than that, we can, like I said, more time is of the essence because we'd like to get this done sooner rather than later. We're planning on placing an order probably, if not the end of this week, early next week.
Yes, I think we're happy with PB6 Brook and RPD6, right? As your
Yes.
bench and table options.
Or I think you can change the colors on them. Can you change the colors on?
I'm sure you can.
Okay. I was saying if that's a preference too, we want to keep cleanliness, just recommend a darker color if it's available.
Nothing we're laughing at each other.
Something that blends in, right? Instead of sticks out too much, or do you want it to stick out to invite?
Before, how about we do this, if this would please the board, before we, if that's the style, which is really what I was looking for, if we decide to go in any kind of different direction with color or anything, we'll email the ARB board members and see if they, as long as they are in agreement, or let's put it this way, in consensus. So,
Yeah, I think we're all in consensus, right? So,
Do you want to make a motion or no?
I don't really think a permit is necessary here, but
Marchand?
Marchand, do you think you need this for record?
It can hurt.
Okay.
And when you say, well, why didn't the town have to do it through a permit, we can say, well, the town did get a
Well, we
permit.
did, here it is.
Didn't have to, but it got one.
I think, yeah, when we're trying to be more transparent than probably is necessary, but
Yeah.
Agreed.
yes, that was a better way to put it.
Okay.
We follow the rules.
So I guess we'll look for a motion on this. Do you want me to motion?
I can do it, if
Okay.
or you can do it, it doesn't matter.
I always have a hesitance since I'm chairing
Okay.
to motion on anything.
I make a motion to approve, what is it?
No permit number
Oh.
on it. Do we have a list, or a permit list?
PB6 Brook?
Yeah, it'll have to be
Put
either
one in
dash
there,
10,
okay.
maybe.
For Harover Park to approve the style for the bench, model PB6 Brook, 6 feet in length, and for the picnic table, model RPD6, 2-inch by 6-inch planks.
Or similar, right?
Right,
Different
yeah.
companies.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. I think we discussed this enough, just in case, so, one last chance.
Okay, everything's great. I'm going to vote against it because I like the table, but I don't like the, I think when the whole project is done, we're going to be looking to sell some benches. At least I'm going to be asking you to sell some benches.
I feel very similar to John. I kind of feel the same way about that. Yeah, I think these would be more utilitarian later on, but I'm going to vote for it, so. But I feel pretty much the same way. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Let's put it to the vote.
Everyone else mute? Okay, let's put it to the vote.
I was going to ask one more question. How many are we getting as of right now?
8 each.
8
You said
each?
80.
I thought you said 80, and I froze for a minute.
Fill it up.
I took the mic. And dropped the mic, too.
So 8 of each.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. That's John. Okay,
That's why we're here, right?
Like I said, I told you so.
that's right.
6 months.
Now, I guess to put it on the minutes, Sherry, we got zoning permit numbers that need to be got, that we need to get for both the shutters and the bench.
And
The bench
Park,
request,
okay.
yeah. But I'll follow up with the paperwork. Okay, after that long drawn-out piece, let's move on to the,
Mr. Chairman, I got some stuff I need to pass out to you. There's a little bit of a snafu in the packet preparation. What I'm passing out to you is the elevations that John has actually put together, and also a cover memo I did for the council in the fall, which included your recommendations to the ARB. So I'm going to give John this mic.
Thanks.
guest of honor tonight, right?
So what I have in that cover memo, it was the three previous styles that John had put forward to you. And it includes, so you had recommended a particular style, and you had also recommended a change to the porch. So what you see here is the front facade,
So fancy.
Thanks, sir.
and then what you see here is the side and rear. Is that easy for you to get to?
I saw it earlier.
And these are the previous elevations that you looked at.
Look, page 4 again. Oh, there it is in yours. These are more.
Great job, by the way.
So if I could, Mr. Chairman, real quick, I'll go through. So what John, and then I'll let John do his own stuff. So you had, this is the cover memo I'm reporting to you. You had talked about 3 elevations. You had decided on front elevation 3 based on several factors, but more importantly, you had talked about incorporating a main entrance door with a 5-window concept, in that main entrance door have a portico entrance with a rail balcony, and that you wrap the architecture around Jefferson Street. So, and that's what John has done. So, thanks, John. Take it away.
Oh, well, I think that basically sums it up. Just to go backwards a couple of steps, if you recall, I developed a broad range of possibilities. We narrowed it down to this basic concept. In early December, I wasn't able to make the meeting. I was out of town, and you guys walked through it and developed these comments. They were relayed to me. Several months have passed. We've been focusing on doing some of the other interior work and things like that. And now we're at the point where we want to go ahead and basically finish up the building design. But I just wanted to just make sure we were all on the same page before we continue on. So presented these elevations incorporating the comments from the December meeting, and then we basically took the theme that we established and wrapped it around the rest of the building, detailed it to include the other functional things that we're doing to the building, including a small addition to take care of the elevator and the stairwell. So we applied that throughout the rest of the building. So I'm presenting those in hopes of getting approval for those designs. We can continue to develop the detailed plans. With me, I also brought material samples that would be nice if we looked at those and made sure those are okay as well. I'm not as concerned about those because if for some reason today we discussed the metal roof color or the brick and we decided to change it later, I could come back and just get presumably an approval on a variation of a color. My primary concern is to nail down the basic building design so that we continue through the engineering and all the other details. That's my hope.
I like it. You did a good job.
Mr. Chairman, the one question I did have is we had made a recommendation about removing the columns from the center facade. So remember, we had talked about using this 5-window concept and we removed the columns. But what I couldn't remember is if you still wanted
On the
this,
outside.
if you still wanted this number of columns on the sides. So they removed them from the center, but that was a question about on the sides, and so.
Yeah, I don't remember. Does anybody?
Thought we said we didn't.
So we had discussed mainly this main center feature,
Yeah.
but we didn't talk as much about whether or not we still desire the number of columns.
Actually, I think we did talk about that a bit, and I think we went back and forth. I think we, as I recall, we left it the way it was finally.
Just take out of the center is what we
Yeah,
said.
so I believe that he has addressed it the way that we were talking.
So, because, yeah, this one, I think we had talked about, you'd have a large amount of an unbroken facade across the front, so.
I just didn't remember if we took off the ones that go down the middle. That was my only thinking when I looked at it. Did we not?
Of each section?
You did, you're looking at
The outer sections?
the upper
or-
ones are what we're looking at today. The
No, I know, but
non-colored.
see here on the bottom right,
Oh,
not the ones on the end, but the ones, next one, those.
The
I-
middle ones?
Right. I didn't know, did we say that? I know we had discussed it.
That's what it had looked like before
Right.
without it.
right.
That was one version of it.
Right.
Correct.
That was, we were leaning towards, I think.
Yep. So,
As,
I mean-
as I recall, I think we ended up with them, I think, is what, because I remember we kind of bent the pages in and we're kind of comparing them, and
can you all see that?
regardless of how we did leave it, I like them. I like the ones in the middle.
Nicole, what do you think?
I like it. I like the change, I like all the additions that he placed in. It looks really, really nice.
So,
We're putting detail on the back, huh?
yeah, actually, one of the, just to think
Yeah.
what you're talking about, as far as the pilasters between the windows, and it adds a little fanciness to the public building. It sets it apart from most of your homes of the same style.
Okay.
And so in that respect, I appreciate this. The option with the door, with the balcony, I remember we didn't have much room to put columns out there, so what am I looking at? Am I looking at brackets that are this is just protruding from the?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it all in about a 16-inch depth of stuff to give it that look, that detail, but we're not projecting an actual structure out onto the sidewalk. With the proposed site plan, the change parking, it is so tight that if we put something out 4 feet out the columns, they're going to be hit by it. No, I'll remember, I promise. Yeah, they'd get hit by car, I'm afraid, with the proposed site plan, the parking, so, well, similar to the way it is now. for right
What type of structure do we have in the floor system? Or do we have joists running that direction?
Currently, yeah.
Okay, so we could cantilever, we could inset some beams, joists, and then protrude those joists out 4 feet potentially. I mean, because we're just protruding, you can't figure it out.
Sure.
Obviously flashed properly to keep.
Right.
So I mean, we could go out further, as long as we don't have columns, I agree, no columns, because a car would hit it, as you said.
Right.
But we could protrude that balcony out a little further, 3 feet, a little further.
Sure.
And if you felt that they needed some brackets or something to make it look like it's not just floating in air, we could do something of that nature as well. I like that. I like that look with the balcony. One thing, though, that I would really, really like to see, if we go with that balcony look, again, I'd like for it to look as if it's a usable balcony, not just a little extension. I like a door there. Whether or not the door is fixed or not, that's fine. But I would like to see a door that steps out onto the balcony. Again, whether it works or not is irrelevant.
John, there is a 5.5-foot sidewalk in front of the building, but there's still a concern, I guess, that if you protrude, you're not going to be able to get, now you're going to block the sidewalk, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And it means that then you've got to have wheel stops to pull cars even further so
Gotcha.
that the 3-foot overhang on the front of the car doesn't take
gotcha.
out the column.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I think columns are not a good idea. I don't think
Right.
we're suggesting you put columns there. Because, then people would have squeezed in behind the columns. If they're walking along the side,
Right,
the front of the building, they'd have to squeeze behind the columns. So, I mean, if it is going to be not a usable balcony, I would like to see it stick out at, a decent amount, at least people unlocking the door in the morning or standing there in the pouring rain, they have.
But you're still going to get some me
16
a
inches
little
isn't
bit.
going to help us much. If you're standing there, you're going to want to take your umbrella. If it's pouring rain, you're going to want to stand there, close your umbrella, shake it off, and then step into the building. I would think you need at least 3 feet. At least 3 feet. Is what I'd like to see. And I think we could do that, right? Well, again, with structurally, we could just run some.
Structurally, we'll figure it out. My concern, I hear where you're going with this, and I get it now. If I may, you want to see it develop a little bit more into a real balcony, not a face of a balcony. And I think we can do that. I'm not worried structurally. I would say if we could maybe agree to the next step for me would be to develop those details as we finish the plans. If we could say, let's do that, we want to stay within 2.5 to 3 feet up to maybe 4 feet. I think anything further than 4 feet, it's going to look heavy. It's too
I
big.
would concur.
So it's somewhere in there that let's stop when it starts to look too heavy. So we want it, it's functional, it's covered, it has the look of a real balcony with a bracket. We'll stop where it becomes too heavy.
Perfect.
Does that work?
I picture a small Christmas tree there. Just saying.
There are tenants up there.
That'll be in the cupola up on top.
That'll be nice.
Can I assume you, this is just a graphic issue, but the doors, actually, like on the end, would be a 6-panel door, at least?
On the,
What are you talking about?
Well, what I have in front of me right here, yes, it looks like a straight
That?
metal panel door, but I assume that's just a graphic.
Yes, it would definitely be. Are we talking about on the?
On that
That end, yes. So, yes, it needs to be a 6-panel door for sure. Actually, we talked about it the last meeting last week. There was a little bit of a change up. Originally, when we started developing these and we were working with the police department, we were proposing to do similar to what's there now, double doors, similar to
They
the
want
front that we're proposing.
I don't want that.
And
It's for safety.
Chief said,
They
I want
steel
one,
door.
I want one door, no glass. So how can you argue with that?
That works then, but a
Yeah.
6-panel would be more appropriate. And we had talked about the possibility of putting a shed roof or something over that door, just to dress it up a little bit, and to give, again, people a place to stand in the rain as they're unlocking the door, as they're coming in and out. On that facade, the Jefferson Street facade.
okay.
I want to say that there's a reason that Chief didn't want that, but now I can't think of what it was.
I know I
Don't
had
you
it on
think
an
he said-
earlier version of a different version.
Oh, yeah, the more modern version you did have, the
Yeah.
more,
The
18.
brackety
Yeah.
thing.
You just, that's the only, that is going to be strictly for access by the officers. It's not going to be, it's going to be
Okay.
swipe card controlled and,
Keypad and all that.
yeah. So I want to say that there was a reason that he didn't want the roof over top
Oh,
of
are they
it.
gonna have cameras there?
Because we didn't want someone to mistake that for an entrance, right? Wasn't that part of it? We
No.
wanted, we didn't want someone thinking they could.
I
get
want to
in.
say there was a safety reason for something, but
Okay. Because, I mean, as is, it'll look like the side door. It'll look like the back door.
Yeah.
In some ways.
But that
That's
might
what
be
you're
a
looking
good,
for.
that might be a good
Fine.
thing, because then no one will try to go through it, as long as they see a keypad there, or a swipe.
Right. I mean, the front entrance is grand enough that I don't think anyone's
that-
going to
right, exactly.
wonder which is which. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm okay. For mine, I would like to see a little shed roof out there, but,
Now, the east elevation, the very back area is grayed out. That's just to show depth, right? So what we're looking at is a stagger of 3 sections.
Yep.
Okay.
The middle addition is going to be where the elevator is going to go. That's the new addition, and then the farthest back is the extension of this right here.
So on the pillars that you're putting on, these are just half pillars, right? They're just
They're
attached to the sides, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
So, and the detail is still siding on the outside, and then the brick is the center to break up the building?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, how's that work on the corner pieces, the pillars? Since we got corner pillars? So is it just going to be two together, so there's kind of like a swoop and then a swoop, so it's kind of a funky dip in on the corner? Or?
It would be, instead of what you described was like two pieces coming together, it would actually look more like one, a real column all the way around. You see the hint of two sides and see two real sides.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to get a better understanding. It looked like one solid pillar as opposed to two half pillars that are just slapped together in the corner.
Right.
John, is the 12 over or 9 over 9 panel windows, is that pretty standard to this style?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the right proportions. I'm trying to think if somebody could make an argument that you could consider maybe a 2 over 2. But that's probably not right.
Yeah, I think about now, it would look strange.
Yeah, I'd say I would recommend 9 over 9.
Wait, I'm sorry, I got myself lost. 9 over 9, what are we talking?
The window lights, the window panels.
My unsophisticated architecture speak.
Hey, do you have a floor plan, a footprint, something? I'm trying to go a three-dimensional on the back. So we have the,
We got the site plan.
yes. Can I quickly just? So in the center of the back, we have a.
So this is the front.
Correct. So this is the front here. In the back, we have this new addition right here.
Yep.
And this is current. This is current from that. Right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. So just this little infill EL.
Yes.
Is what we're looking at here.
Yes.
And so you're looking at putting this portico.
John, you don't have a mic, so it's not being recorded, so. No, just grab that one.
Grab that base. That base is.
All right, so I'm just trying to get a handle on the fact that he's putting a portico over this little addition. Oh, I see. And then the ramp is to the side. Now, does that ramp bump out or anything? Or you have the extra pilaster and the band beam, if you will, the band,
Right.
The middle band that come out further. That covers or at least lines up with the areaway. But how is that protruding? You're going to have a flat spot. You're going to have a flat spot, and I have no roof, of course.
Right. I don't think that's correct. I'm now questioning whether that plan is correct.
No, that's incorrect.
That shouldn't be there, actually. This is good through here, and then what happens is, if you recall by memory that plan, this door is recessed back. So it's not, the door isn't in the same plane as the rest of this. This is projected out almost to the same plane, and this does have a flat roof, because that's where we're going to put mechanical units, get them off the ground.
Right.
And hide them behind this parapet wall, so you won't see them. But you're right, this, I think, is a ghost of a previous version where we were doing it on that side.
Okay, that does not exist then. Okay.
Yeah, it's suggested if we could ignore that one line of columns
And
there.
how far back does those middle doors, how far back they are recess into the
About
building?
5 feet, it's enough to be able to walk towards those doors and take a right into part of the building without going through those double doors. It's deep enough to get an actual door
Okay.
inside.
I guess, again, we're here for the look, I guess. That seems like a nice, dark, dank, scary place.
Right, and I'm assuming that, that's why they're lower than the elevation, right? There's actually a step down?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's 5 feet. Now, why do you turn and to go into the building and not go through those doors?
There is it's a door to a mechanical room, and if I don't put it there, it's going to be on the outside face, and that I would show on that drawing. So the idea was to push the main doors back so I can sneak a side door into the mechanical sprinkler room without seeing it from the back of the building.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just trying to get a handle on that. It looks to me like, again, we have the police station right next to, as part of it, so that's good. But that does seem like a nice little dark, dank, recessed cave in there. I don't know if
You want it covered.
well, no. I don't know if you would want to put a metal fence, a metal gate, almost.
No.
I don't know. I mean,
No.
okay. All right, fine.
I think
I'm
there'd be
just thinking
security
it's-
lighting in the alcove too, probably.
Security lighting the alcove obviously will help a whole lot.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a police station will help
And it'll be cameras.
a whole heck of a lot.
We have
Okay.
great officers.
Sure. Absolutely.
At least one or two.
Yeah.
No stealing benches or hiding in
Yeah.
dark spaces.
Okay, and so what we have between the two gables is a parapet wall, just a single plain wall, that then behind it is an open air conditioning unit.
Correct. So
Okay.
this
Okay.
part of the addition doesn't go all the way up, and that way it keeps these valleys clean, right? They're all coming together.
Sure. That works. And so the cupola, just windows, is it going to be lit? I assume there's no staircase to go up there and look out. So no clock or anything?
Believe it or not, we are maxed out on height. The civil guys told me it was a little bit taller, but because of the mean roof line, blah, 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 I actually shortened it up a couple of feet from the original design to meet zoning.
So is there a way to get up? No.
It's just an architectural feature. There's nothing functional about
So
it.
there's no maintenance needed for it? Like, we're not going to have to worry about windows being broken, or if they need to be replaced, or if they have to be cleaned?
Not from the inside.
Side? Okay.
No, and I think a light, whoever's the light's great idea. Put a LED in there that won't burn out.
Yeah,
Or a solar
you can
one.
even have a solar
Regenerating itself.
switch. Too.
Right.
Night and so
Oh, a
forth.
rotating solar light.
Lighthouse?
Oh, can we even do that?
No.
Detail on the soffit in front, are those windowed, or is it just I don't know what to call it. That's not a window insert on those soffit details, right?
The which detail are you referring to?
What is
The arch?
The peaks? The two peaks you have, in the gables, you have that, the detail on the face of it?
Oh, the front.
The dental molding, you mean?
No, not the dental
No,
molding. The oval pieces, those aren't
oval
big
windows.
windows, are they? Are they?
Well, they'd be real windows, real glass. Again, they're not really accessible to anything.
They'd be in the
Okay,
attic space.
So they are glass. I was just wondering if they're glass or if they were some type of,
Okay.
just detail and internal.
Yeah, it could be a fire pond detail, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it in glass.
Typically, what you do there is you put
Paint it black.
you put the glass, and then you hang a piece of tar paper a few inches back.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, which is
So
fine.
we
I
put an
just wanted to.
A little light in there too.
The solar
Actually, that may not be such a bad.
No, it wouldn't be bad.
That
wouldn't be a
bad
bad
idea
idea.
at all. Actually, it is that eclectic look, which I'm fine with. It has the elliptical little windows in the gables. It has the half-round Roman arches over the lower windows, and then it has a broken segmented arch, as we call it, over the main door. a little eclectic, but, I'm okay.
John, another question for you. So they'll fit in the window openings. You won't have to widen the window openings other than the arches on the first level?
In fact, we're actually closing down the existing windows.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now, just so we're clear, I'm just making sure that the two sided, the white-sided gable ends on the front facade, they're only protruding about 4 inches or 6 inches past the brick, the front of the brick,
Well,
if that.
oddly, the front section on the building now, the brick sticks out the thickness of the brick only. It's about 3 inches. What we want to do is we're going to use the pilasters, and we're going to have to fur out the sides to bring it out for some of the newer code issues to get the continuous insulation, furring, strip siding. So it's going to bring it out almost flush, and then the pilasters will actually be proud of the brick in the end. But right now, the brick actually sticks out 3 inches further than the rest.
Okay. But you don't need to put continuous insulation on the interior, on the middle portion? Or are you going to try to take care of that on the inside?
Well, we're proposing on the middle section to remove the brick and put new brick back because of the color, and then we would compact a more dense something in there to try to keep that push back, keep the sides out. So, and we may, once we develop the detail of it, we may bring those sides out even further to get that look, but the intent is to get the center part not proud of the side parts, get the reverse to happen.
Potentially what he's saying, if I heard you correctly, it's all the same, or we're going to be very close to the same level protrusions. It's going to be even flushed out. But then those columns are going to be what separate. And the columns, then I guess we're going to be at least, you're going to try to give them some, which actually I like that idea, is giving the pilasters a little bit of meat in there. They're not just a 3/4 inch piece of material slapped up there. Well, no, those don't look too bad, but they look better when they have some meat to them. Of course, if you do that, then your band board's going to protrude with them, and you're going to have to make sure that you shed the water off that band board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's a small detail. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, maybe we'll break that band board and do it as a sort of a box in between the two pilasters and step
that
it
would
back
actually
again.
work too. That way you don't have like a nice pigeon ledge.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right.
I have a question. I know we were someone just kind of put it out there about the light being up top in the cupola. Is it pre-wired to have light up there?
It would be.
It would be?
Well, yeah, it's just a wire up there. That's not a big
Could we
deal.
request it?
That's not
How
his.
would- No, I'm just asking. I'm just saying we would have to request.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think we could do that.
because that would be, it would be kind of a nice thing that when we have the museum changing the lights for the different events that we're doing for the month, for breast cancer and lung cancer and all those things, that we do that also up there with an LED.
Yeah, and
It's true.
That's right, get one of those Philips bulbs that cost $60 that changed colors.
Yeah, and we could change
Set the color on it.
yeah, we could just change the color.
I would think you mentioned that you wouldn't have access, but we would probably have a hole in the hole
Sure,
in the
yeah.
inside. Get a maintenance guy up in there.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
crawl
if you
through
had
up there.
to.
To just-
Yeah.
I
And
mean, that is going to be open. That's kind of like a skylight, right? Because if I remember, the interior design, that whole piece was open, wasn't it?
No. That's just a decorative piece up on the roof.
Oh, okay. I thought,
We could if we wanted to send someone, right?
Right, and true. It would go right through your tenant upstairs, his space. Too, right?
So yes, but see, you have to understand, we haven't really seen a floor plan, so we don't know what is going
Right.
on
Yeah.
in there. I think at one point you had a bit of a foyer, a vestibule. I thought at one point you had some sort of a double Or maybe not, I don't
No,
know.
no,
Okay, so
never.
there's a tenant, so there's no point in having that open, because the
Yeah.
first floor people wouldn't see it anyways.
Yeah. But I do like the idea of having a changeable light, that we could change the color to match the museum.
Yeah, they do make now LED lights that you can dial up the color and temperature. It's an expensive light bulb, but, or it's not a light bulb, of course, but it's a thing, a diode, but you can get them where you can actually change the color. Well, if you've gone down, now you see the building on 495 and Tyson's on the left as you're the inner loop where it changes up. Oh, wow, that's wild. Yeah, so I mean, it's out there. Technology's there now.
John, did you want to get into any of the color of the standing seam roof or any of the colors tonight, or?
Sure. What we have them, if I can run those around, and if we like them, great, we'll write them down. If we want to study them or come back, I can do a submission of colors later. My primary goal was to get this so that I could keep going on the detailed drawings. So, with that, what I have is a folder which would address metal roof color, the specs, which is kind of boring, the metal roof specs, but the more interesting stuff would be proposing the wood shutters, wrought iron hardware for the shutters, which is in this package, and then the other two would be the siding. Of course, that's not painted or anything, but that's the fiber cement siding we're proposing to use. Probably doesn't really help you visualize it. And then a recommended brick sampler. So, that's the best way. So that's metal roof, and then the shutters and hardware.
Okay, so just a standing seam metal roof, what you would see on these other buildings, correct me if I'm wrong. Would we have I noticed that the old post office has, the little ice guards.
Oh, yes.
Would we do something like that?
Um,
Because I believe
it's probably a good idea. Probably a good
Okay.
idea to add that. They're a little more expensive, but, yeah.
Oh, is this is colored? This is what? I'm so confused.
Yeah,
I'm
that
looking-
side, not the sticker side, but the other side. It's a weathered galvan.
Yeah, okay. I would think that we would have a painted color, but
What is that? For the roof?
For the roof, yeah.
it's metallic colored.
So there is no color, it's just going to be silver?
It's it's to replicate a tin roof. You could certainly consider. That's what I proposed in those is doing that. A galvanized.
I don't remember seeing too, I at the moment, I don't think I see too many non-painted standing seam.
So they're volunteering to go up there and paint it when it needs to be?
Well, we could certainly do gray. I mean, they have that in that color that's a painted, so it's a more consistent color.
I was kind of wondering, again, I'm not familiar with non-painted. Does it glare in the sun?
No, it's actually a surface that's applied to the steel panels, just like paint, but it does replicate an older tin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps I'll take a look at the one on Jefferson Street, the, page 53. No, the construction house, building. It looks so right across the street here.
That's not metal, is it?
Then the front porch is metal.
We're talking
it
a
does.
small addition that looks, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine with me. It's all the same, right?
Yeah. You said it does
Right now
not
we
glare?
are.
No.
It doesn't, okay.
I think the roof's black right now, so.
And black wouldn't be a bad choice either. It's hot.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting black to look like, I'm just saying it's kind of a dark color
Yeah.
right now. So.
Oh,
See, that's
So what else do you
got the
have?
shutters in here too.
so and
Yeah,
a
everything.
brick sample, and really it's just the shutters and the hardware. That's all. There really isn't much more to
What's
the
that?
finishes.
This would be painted white, correct?
Correct.
That's the Hardy plank or whatever.
Columns be made of the same type of?
Yeah, and they make it in stock sizes, like 1 by 5/4 inch sheets. So it'd all be fiber cement, caulk joints, and painted.
So I'm sorry, but the pilasters too, you're saying, would be, so when you walk up and tapped on it, it would feel pretty good?
And that's the brick.
So the hardy plank, John, you're thinking more of like a white or or a similar color to that?
White. That's an unpainted surface.
So you
So we're,
does it come painted, or do you put it up and then we go, like, spray it?
You can have it pre-painted. I typically spec having it primed at a factory only, and then paint it in
And then
place.
paint it.
Especially with white, because then everybody's touching it,
Touching,
they're
yeah.
dragging a tool across it, and it looks bad.
Making pencil marks on it.
Yeah, yeah, so it's better they put a final coat in the field.
so are these bricks, is that a rolled brick, and we're just using a single color?
Yes, I'm recommending a single range color with a hand-molded look to it in a modular size. So it's not an oversized brick. It's not an actual handmade brick, but a more consistent color in more of a Virginia shale color scheme.
How about the mortar on it? What kind of strike are we going to have in it? Do you know?
I would recommend a grapevine in a buff color, but I didn't think to address that in the submission right now.
I think that would be entirely appropriate, a grapevine in the buff color. It looks fine. I think you all know I like modeled bricks myself, more hand-tumbled. It's not a lot of brick surface we're looking at.
I think there's a lot of other detail on the front there, too, with the pillars and the...
True. I just don't want it to come across as a red brick schoolhouse, 1950s schoolhouse.
I don't think we're going to get that.
That would be my concern. Well, what I'm looking at here does seem like it does have a bit of a variation.
You're thinking something with even more range than that?
That's my personal taste. I like more hand-tumbled look, whether it's hand-tumbled or whether it's handmade or not. But again, I just what I don't think is appropriate here is a red schoolhouse brick where you have just all machined, unicolor. If that doesn't come across, again, judging from that, it looks a little bit that way. But if you feel that it's not going to come across as a straight, modern brick building, we can get the whole thing outside. Okay.
Not that one specifically, and I pulled that one out. That was one of the 4 that I had recommended for another building, and we decided not to use it, but I saw it in a 4x4 panel on site, and I liked it. And I made a note of it. I said that this would be appropriate. Again, my priority is if we decided tonight it's going to be brick and it's going to be a modular size, I can keep going. And then what we could do is say at the appropriate time we would submit, maybe even do a sample panel that has to be approved by the ARB and put a 4x4 panel up there to really see it. It doesn't hold me up deferring that final brick selection. I want to set the scene right now, but it doesn't have to be that specific one.
At this point, there does matter whether it's an oversized brick or a modular brick?
Yes, because of the coursing to set the windows, I'd probably go ahead and I'm going to line up, now that we're installing new windows, I'm going to course it to fit right with the brick coursing.
Just real quick, I'm going to interject here that I believe that the council is looking for some kind of approval to move forward with this thing. They have a meeting on Monday, so just so everyone can start kind of wrapping their brain around what they're comfortable with approving. Or, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This isn't just for discussion. This is, they want to start moving in the direction of getting this going.
Right.
Whether you take out some of the but some of the detail has to be in the approval, like he just said, for the,
Understood.
right.
Yeah, it's, again, it comes down to, taste. I like oversized bricks, just slightly larger than the, what we call modular bricks. These are your standard bricks. It's not a big deal. If this is what the architect likes, I'm okay with it. Like I said, I do oversized, but, yeah. But again, that's not a big deal. If you want to use modular brick and it works out better for your windows, yeah, we can talk about the exact brick and brick color at a later point in time. But yeah, I guess modular brick, if that's what
The
you
reality is that brick may not be available by the time we are ready to build it, so,
Are we trying to match anything else in the town? I mean, is that
Not really,
not at
no.
all? That makes
I
no,
don't think we're
no
trying to do
difference?
that now.
It's like we said, we've made this kind of eclectic, so when you really think about it, it's pulling in pieces from the town. So, I mean, every architectural style you will find somewhere within the town.
including,
Well,
well, I'm just saying, is there any piece in the town that would be like that anywhere?
No, but I would argue that's probably not necessarily a bad thing.
That's my question.
Yeah.
That's my
The
question.
JB3 building has, I'm not sure they have the red brick, but when I think about it, it has more flex or colors to it. Giuseppe's has that style of brick. Leeberry has a very modular brick shopping center, so.
To sort of put the town together like that, or if it, or not, does it not matter? So that's just my
It's
question.
just more important to me than the actual size of the brick, because again, there's really not that much difference. It's more of a, like the, political policy wonks, it's more of a technical thing. But I just want it to have an aged appearance, past the 1950s, is what I'm looking for.
well, I'd be content with something like that as part of the approval, that yes, it's brick and it needs to be a close color range with a handmade texture to it. Final color to be determined or approved by the ARB at the appropriate time, because I am afraid that it could change or it's not available, or we find something better.
There you go.
We have time.
Yeah, so if you like the modular versus the oversized, then that's fine.
yeah, I think that pretty much identifies everything that you need to move forward, right?
It does, and I think the same thing on the roof. That was my recommendation, but really, that decision could be made. I would like to use a double lock standing seam, a traditional metal roof, do the snowbirds, the snow guards on them. But we can submit a color. I could submit that anytime to get final approval on that color scheme. I don't have a problem with that. We can investigate that. So,
I think a color scheme can come later, right? Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be inappropriate for either side, right?
okay, so we can leave it. It's those materials, but the color scheme is to be subject to final approval.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, I think we're on agreement that we're looking at white, or creamish white, whatever, and then the red brick, red Virginia brick in the middle. Sure.
Right.
And are we bumping out that portico? Is that the,
We're hoping to bump out the side. Oh, the portico
Right, yeah, we have
itself.
two loose ends.
I would like
Yeah.
to. I would like to give it at least a.
Yeah, and if you do want to
Look of
make
a-
that a true fake balcony and put some type of door up there, the next thing is, are you going to try and keep it in proportion to the door below, or?
No,
So that would be a major modification there, so we need to get that out.
I think width-wise, it could definitely be what it is,
Yeah, single
and with the
door.
windows, I think that's fine.
Okay,
It doesn't have to talk to the door below it.
just want to make sure we lock down all this stuff, right?
Susan, so you said this is enough detail for you to get the decision on Monday. So,
well, I'm writing all this down, that's what I'm doing.
But I assume it would be a glass door, French door.
Yep.
Keep in mind
We're
what
going to make it
Uh,
deeper, we're add dimensions somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 feet of dimension to it, which isn't detailed in this submission yet anyway, so we agree that's our objective.
Brian.
I think that's fine.
Mr. Chair, what I would suggest is I think what you're looking for tonight is really to hopefully approve the COA. What this does is this allows our architect to really kind of finalize the outside facade improvements as council's trying to move on to determine whether or not it's feasible for them to move to this next phase, which would be to complete the facade improvements and the site plan. In order for them to do that, and for our architect to be able to provide us with a finalized cost estimate so we can know what we're getting into, that's what we need to do this evening from the ARB, is really kind of prove it. And I think you all you had a very healthy discussion, and with regard, I think it gives him enough criteria. And I think you've really hammered out exactly what this thing's going to pretty much look like, which is what the council is requesting of the ARB this evening.
Color.
But the color can be determined,
Right.
yet to be determined, and the final colors. And that I think, but that's not something, if he knows what you're going with, bless you, and stuff, if he knows what you're going with, then he can move on, and at the same time, we can still put the color palette together.
Okay, I just have one quick question. That whole thing with the door over the portico, that's someone's office, right? I mean, someone's renting space up there. Yes? Or is it just a hallway?
No, that would be office, that'd be current office space.
So then we want to leave it as a window.
Yeah, we don't want,
I would say leave it as a window, because, I mean, really, if no one's going to be using that balcony, and it's just there for show, I mean, I understand the fact of, like, making sure that we have something over the lower level so that no one's getting wet coming into the, but if there's really not a feasible use for it, a function for it, it's just going to be, a little bit of an annoyance in someone's office.
Well, essentially, there's two ways of looking at it. I mean, it's one of those things, I think you achieve the same effect a little bit with the window. It doesn't serve a functional use. The balcony is not going to be used. I don't envision the mayor making proclamations off the balcony. But at the same time, what I would also say is from the interior, it just looks like a longer window. I mean, because it would have no function or form at all. Inside, it would look like a long window. Outside, it would look like a door. And so whether or not you put a door, or if you keep a window there, I think you're achieving the same goal. But if you really wanted the door from the inside, it just is going to be a long window in that situation because it has no access. It would be shut. It'd be permanent. It's not like you can go in and
might
out.
run into egress problems, too.
Possibly.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it
So-
would be designated as a door. I think in reality, in my opinion, without beating this up too much, I don't think there's any real problems functionally or security or code or anything else. I think it purely comes down to architectural. And I think once we committed to bringing this out a little further, the reality is when that balcony rail sticks out a little further and you can see through the side and see it's just a window, I do agree it should be a door, if nothing more than, because it's going to look a little hokey to have a window out onto a balcony that looks like you have to climb through to get out onto it. So, I mean, my architectural recommendation is
Okay.
make it a door because we're stretching it out a little further.
But then would the occupant be able to open that door?
No.
It looks like a door from the outside, but it's sealed. There's no knobs or anything on
And
it.
that's not an issue for...
Strictly aesthetic.
Yeah.
As
Okay,
opposed to
okay, I'm just
function.
making sure that each office doesn't have to have its own egress.
No,
Okay.
no, there won't be any code issues with it.
Yeah, you got a water system in there, so I'm assuming that's the second egress and all that stuff.
We get everything.
Yeah, it'll look like a picture, it'll function like a picture window.
Yeah.
There you go. I think that's appropriate. Okay, the last thing that I'm noticing here that would be germane to you at this point is the upper facade, this wall over here, is that correct? On the first floor, we have a large spans of unbroken siding. If it were vinyl, that's a total no-no, because actually the vinyl siding starts to sag over time. This material probably won't sag, I assume.
I think it's just.
It's going to be, I mean, when you come from there and you sightline it, you will see, I mean, The Hardy does tend to conform to imperfections in walls. Doesn't do any favors for walls that are not
It's
straight.
just going to be parking along there, right? That's what the site plan is.
Where
It's not-
are you going with it?
Would it be appropriate to stick a pilaster or two along that facade, just, again,
No.
simply to break
Yeah.
up the
Just an eye break of some
Yeah,
sort.
just an eye
right?
break.
Yeah, ideally put some windows in, but it just doesn't work with the plan, but.
Is there going to be any landscaping along that wall?
It's the parking lot.
I know, but
in
we
the
still might have like
parking
3 feet worth of bushes.
No, it's the sidewalk, it's
Yeah,
the
it's
perimeter sidewalk.
The sidewalk, okay. Okay, and while we're on this subject, is this brick to grade under the siding?
No, it's right down the datum line all the way around. There is no brick below the siding.
So it's concrete?
Yes, well, it'd be that much, I suppose, because all of the doors, the whole building will ultimately be level with the sidewalk outside. A half inch
Oh, okay.
lower outside than
And
inside.
since this is not wood material, you can bring it that close to grade?
Yeah.
And so you do plan on bringing it pretty darn close to grade?
Yeah.
So it would be concrete, what I'm looking at, but it would be not a whole lot?
Yeah, just because when you step out any of these doors, you have to go right onto the sidewalk, so there's maybe an inch gap between the concrete and the siding finish of the building.
Well, the doors don't, that's not as, yeah, they are down on grade, like you said.
Right.
But the siding would still be as much as 6 to 8, I'm looking at what looks like 6 to 8 inches, especially that, as you stair step it on that upper facade there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see a decent amount of concrete, but it's.
Well, the idea is not to. Now, we probably could scale that down. That's a little harsh with his saw-tooth look there. But,
Well, I guess my point is, I really, we're paying a lot of attention and doing a great job here of the whole rest of the building. I hate to kind of miss it on that, band of concrete along the whole bottom of the. Well, actually, as we're mentioning this, it looks like you have a band of concrete under the middle portion as well, the bricks. Those bricks would not come all the way down to the grade?
that would not be
Smack the dressing. Okay.
I didn't catch that. We don't want to do a band on the bottom.
Okay.
But I think on this one, what I suggest we do is eliminate that sawtooth and get the siding closer, because the grade does vary as it goes around the building, unless we introduce now brick and then bring it up 2 feet all the way around the building or something more drastic. But I'm not sure how we'd address that one. If that's where you're going, is let's get brick in there instead of.
So you're saying brick to grade, just, 8 inches of brick is not something that you can do economically?
Well,
You are padding it out.
yeah, but I mean, that would require a foundation all the way around it too.
That's true.
Seems cost prohibitive.
See brick? See brick?
I would, my initial suggestion would be, let's get rid of that look and try to create a clean, crisp line so you don't see concrete. I don't want to see concrete on the wall, but I'm a little reluctant to commit to adding another dimension to the building of brick around there.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Okay, good. I'm going to try and make a motion and see what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it for it.
I make a motion to approve zoning permit application ZP 2016-010 for Haymarket Town Center at 15,000 Washington Street. The roof, be the architectural metal pre-weathered galvalume, right?
That's what I submitted,
Yes, okay, color to be determined. The brick modular with grapevine mortar, color to be determined. Hardy plank lap siding. The police side door to be a 6-panel steel. the shutters to be raised panel with hardware, and the front portico to be bumped out to 3 feet, 4 feet, what?
You said no more than 4, but
My hunch.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna start to look.
like it's staggered a little.
Okay, no more than 4 feet, and turn the window on the second floor to a false door. I guess that's what it would be, right? False door? A fixed door. Fixed panel door. That was exhausting. Shutter color to be determined. I mixed that. Okay?
I second.
Okay, got a motion second. Last chance to say anything. Anybody?
Just for clarification, since we were talking about it earlier tonight, the shutters to be, at least have the appearance of being proportional to the window they accompany? Because we already talked about hardware and everything. The roof of the cupola would match the roof of the rest of the building?
Yeah.
Okay, is that good enough? We don't need to modify the motion, right?
No,
I think that's
I think
understood.
we're- Obviously, as he pulls the balcony out, 2, 3, whatever you feel is appropriate, brackets will accompany, some sort of a bracket will accompany that at some point we'll be able to see.
I'm gonna try to maintain that look from the straight on or close to it, 85% that look, but we will have to introduce something to come out.
Come out, it kind of begs for something to hold it.
Yeah,
to
it's
appear to
something to
hold it.
go up and out. We'll get something in there in the profile of those, that detail that we currently have that lets it start to work itself out there.
Perfect.
Okay. Up for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's move on. Now, Marchand, I need that packet back, because that's got the approval page on it.
Where's the brick? Does someone have the brick or
It's
just
over there.
Thank you.
Hey, John, the closed gable ends, are they gonna, do they have the same matching roof, standing seam roof along those closed
Yes.
gables?
Yep.
Where's the hardy plank? Anybody?
Hmm.
Oh, it's over here. Easier if I have the stuff to show them than if I.
So we ready to continue?
I'm sorry. I thought you were signing that, so that's why I.
Oh, well, yeah, I was just waiting on you, because next agenda item is town council update.
What do we have? The house moved from Harover to QBE. It's very exciting. He hopes to have the ice cream shop, Cookies and Cream, open by June 1st. That's his plan.
That's nice.
So they'll be before us next meeting to get their sign and their colors and everything for the exterior. What am I missing, Marchand?
No, just that he will be coming to you
Yes.
for the modifications that he's making to the building.
To the building. So I think that's it.
And
I mean,
I'll hold him to that.
oh no, he'll. And,
Councilwoman Edwards, if I
Yes.
may also add,
Yeah.
one of the things that also council did do, and we're moving forward on with the Haribo property, is our next phase, which would be, the RFP actually was released earlier this week for engineering services. And we'll be getting that out about a 3-week time period, and we'll start review. So we hope to have an engineer under contract, hopefully either before the end of this fiscal year or right at the beginning of next fiscal year.
And then we'll engineer the entire project, and then we just phase it as appropriate.
right. So, and we're also going to have a naming contest. And that should be coming up, so look for that. Get your families, your neighbors, come up with a name for the park. I think that's it. I know I was reached out to by the ladies. They're going to take over this, the Copper Cricket, the consignment shop that's going to move into the police department. And I think they'll be coming to us next month for their signage. It wasn't quite ready yet, so they didn't come tonight. And Chick-fil-A is beautiful. Did you see? It's going up. So exciting. Okay, I'm done. That was it, right? Did I miss anything? It's a lot of budget stuff at council lately, so,
Any questions for Susan?
okay.
Okay. Then we'll move on to Planning Commission update.
I was unfortunately out of town, but the two things that I know that we were discussing that I can refer to Marchant on, or defer, excuse me, was our zoning map amendment with our consultant, and as well as our sign ordinance that was out to our legal counsel, I believe.
Correct. So the consultant we brought in is going to revamp the zoning ordinance, and one of the things he did was give the commission homework, asking them to go with the zoning map and the use list that they've suggested, and go through and visualize those areas where we allow certain uses. So, for instance, over by the animal hospital, that large piece of property next door, B1 currently allows auto service repair. Is that something we want in our B1 Walking Town district? So having them go through that exercise. And hopefully the consultant will come back, and then we'll start moving forward with the rest of the ordinance rewrite. We're going to try to make home occupations by right, make some of our service use by right, meaning you don't have to go through any official zoning process. So that's where we are on that.
Sign ordinance, is that still out
Correct.
with
Martin was still, Martin made some edits. He's given it back to me, and I got to get it ready and bring it back for a joint council meeting, commission meeting. So.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Connor? Good? Okay, we'll move on to old business. I don't think we have any real old business that's been hanging out there.
We did. We had the Lee Berry fence
That's right.
shopping center. Sorry, that wasn't included in your packet, but if you recall last month, they had extended their fencing along the parking lot and in front of Washington Street. I'm sorry, I don't have the graphics in front of me. If you recall, there are two different fence heights. So basically, the landscape island around where the Food Lion sign is, they have run fencing all the way around that, and when it meets the fence at Washington Street, it's about a foot difference in height. Went and talked to the applicants after the meeting. There seemed to have been a miscommunication about what required a permit. They suggested they called about a permit. They don't need a building permit, but they do need a zoning permit. So, nevertheless, the fence is out there. There was some concern about, so the preference was to have it all one color, one style, one height. There's some concern about the cost associated with that, so I did provide them the alternate recommendation we discussed, which is removing the fencing around the landscape islands, putting vegetation. There's concern. Basically, the purpose of the fencing was to keep people cutting through the landscaping to get to McDonald's. The sheer amount of fencing that was an issue. So around the landscape island, she's agreed to take the fence out, put in a holly or some other evergreen that'll discourage people to cut through. On the front fencing, there was two different style of fencing on the front. She's going to have that match by using some old fencing behind the shopping center. and then paint it all black and get rid of, right now that fence has got a lot of rust on it, and come back and paint it all one color. So at the end of the day, all the fencing along Washington Street will match. It'll be the same height. The side in front of McDonald's will stay green, but the side in front of Food Line will be black. They'll plant the landscaping around the landscape island and then remove the fencing. Hopefully you can visualize that in your head. Sorry.
What's the argument to keep the
That's
stuff in
my
front of the
question.
McDonald's green as opposed to paint it all?
Apparently, it's part of a lease line. McDonald's kind of has their own lease line and where they're at, and so there was a question whether or not they would have to, this application was separate from McDonald's.
But they own the
Who owns the
property.
property is what it boils down to, though, doesn't it?
If
Or-
you want to make that recommendation, that it all be painted white, but I think
Black.
it has been,
Black.
white, I'm sorry. For the longest as I can remember, it's been green.
Yeah.
Green in front of McDonald's and black in front of Food Line. Not sure how that came about,
Yeah, me either, but
but if that's what would be a part of your recommendation, then that could be that they also paint the front of McDonald's black. So what I would recommend, if the ARB is so inclined, is to simply outline the conditions of approval based on what the alternative I just described to you.
I have a question, Marshawn.
Sure.
Did we have an issue with, was there an issue with the signs that they have placed up? Were they supposed to remove them or change
Yeah,
them
I
or
did
something
mention
like
then that
that?
the size of the signs were too high,
Okay.
too large.
And her response to that was?
She would address it. And that could be a part of your approval as well.
so
What are you looking from us then? To give you approval for these recommendations, for them to resubmit their COA, or, because we didn't table that COA, did we? for
You did. You
decision?
tabled it
did.
to this month for final action. Is it in your packet? Is it still in your packet?
No, it's not in the packet. That's why
Where
I'm
did-
kind of clueless on it, so
Okay.
we'll have to look at the meeting minutes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
How long are we allowed to table it for?
60 days?
60 days.
So can we table it till next meeting then?
I think she would agree to an extent. If I were to speak for her, I think she would agree to the extension to get it resolved. So.
Well, one of your other options, Mr. Chair, if I may, one of your other options would be if you feel satisfied with the zoning administrator's recommendation, you could always approve it on the conditions that he's just laid out. That way, if it doesn't come back, then you'd always have something to fall back on. But that would be an appropriate way if you wanted to handle this month. We apologize for it not being in your all's packets and everything, but now that I understand the situation a little bit more, I think Marshawn's worked as the zoning administrator to clear up any of the issues. So it seems to
couldn't
me
we
like
just put it in the packet next month when it's all done? You convey what she needs to do and
I can do that. If you wanted to defer it one more month or table it one more month, I'll
It'll
get
be easier, because that way we'll have documentation in front of us to actually put down in
Exactly.
writing and everything
Yeah,
else.
it's hard to describe to you visually and what I just described to you, so I can make it, hopefully she'll take care of it by then and update the application accordingly, so.
Yeah, but I think we are going in the right direction with it. I don't know, since I can't speak for everybody, but
I have a question. So everything that we have placed to her that she needs to fix and handle is now going to be represented back to us? Or are we just tabling it till the next meeting to just go over everything and make
to
sure?
make sure it's done correctly.
Well, two things. One, I'm gonna bring it back to you
with the recommendations that he just.
with the
discussed with
recommendations. My hope and expectations that she'll have it done
Before.
before it comes back to you. When I talked to her today, she said the only thing that may take time is getting the plants. Her son, Danny Humphreys, owns Advantage Landscape. Did I say her son? Her nephew owns Advantage Landscaping and would come out and do that. Other than that, she agreed to having the fence removed and doing the other things, so.
So it sounds like the biggest question you have today is the green versus the black, I suppose.
On McDonald's,
Yeah.
I just,
I'm okay with the way it is since it's been that way, but again, I think that's the biggest decision for the moment.
Yeah, and it kind of, under the guidelines, it kind of falls of, that area wasn't really touched, so we can't exactly request anything associated.
It's all
with
one
it.
site plan, isn't it? One,
That's the only caveat that we have here.
I'm more tempted that if they have to maintain it or, paint it in the future, that maybe then they have to change it, paint it black if it needs
Okay,
maintenance.
when I spoke with Karen, she had her, this morning, you wouldn't know, she had her sister did the work. So when I brought the ARB's concern forward, she's like, well, at first I thought thought the ARB was being a little overstepping, but when I went out and looked at it, she's like, yes, I agreed. That looks odd, having two different style heights surrounding the landscape island. So she agreed, and the defense, and she goes, yes, we put a lot of money into the parking. They've done a lot of improvements out there. So she agreed that with your perception and recommendations that we've talked about. So same thing with the painting. She sees that it's got a lot of rust and it looks bad.
Yeah.
So the question would be, if we do say McDonald's object to it be painted black, I'll have to find that out.
Yeah, especially since with the setup fees associated with this, it would be a cheaper cost to get
Well,
that
the only
section
thing
done.
is if McDonald's has to maintain their own fence and what's in their lease,
What's in the
then
lease,
it's.
yeah, exactly.
I will track that all down to you. Sorry, it's a lot of discussion over a fence. I think it's my frustration when we have to go back afterward and retroactively fit it, but I think it's a good alternative. They have done a lot to keep the shopping center looking good, so.
And I think you did a good job communicating the issue to her, so thank you, Marshall.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. There's no new business, so I guess next agenda item is adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I was hoping someone would jump in before you. Okay, I got a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We close at